Good morning, Dragon Squad, and welcome to the pre-show. Welcome back to a new week. Not on Monday, technically. We've decided to skip that. You know what we just got done with? And I hope that as many of you as possible got this as well. A 3-day weekend. And man, 3-day weekend. They're really something. There's a lot of good things about 3-day weekends, but one is that you never, in a regular weekend, you never have a pure day. You have a day where you just finished work. Like it's Saturday, you just worked the day before. Sunday is never that great because you know that the next day you have to work. But in a 3-day weekend, you have a day where you relaxed the day before, so you're fully relaxed because you've been relaxing, and you don't have to go back to work the next day. You can just relax. A 3-day weekend is not 50% better than a 2-day weekend. I think it's at least twice as good. I think it's twice as good. But anyway, we're going to keep fighting to get more of those if we can. I just saw a story about some country that had an experiment in it. We've been talking about the Japan one. I think this was a different one. It might have been Canada. But yes, thank you everyone for being here after this 3-day weekend and returning to the news. We're going to be mixing things up, but thank you to all of you who are already here. Those of you who've already hit the like button, that's very nice of you. Let's see if we can get to 1,000 if you want to get to the headline story. Let's see. Billy Shively. Hey, Billy Shively. Saw your message on Friday on the show. Thank you for being here. Says, hello, D-Squad. Hello, Tardy Dragon. I was only a little bit tardy. I started taking walks between the production and the beginning of the pre-show. I have to do it now. I need that fresh air and sunlight. Anyway, did anyone watch Tomorrow War and wonder why it seemed to have 4 acts? It found dumb reasons to just keep going. So I haven't watched it yet. I probably plan to. I have not heard good things about it. I will just say that. Not very good. But anyway, thank you everyone for being here. Oh, okay, so here's what's going to happen. Today is not Monday, so there's no Francesca. You are going to get Francesca, though. It's going to happen tomorrow. We're going to have Big News Wednesday with Francesca Fiorentini. But wait, where does that leave JR? It leaves him right here, because he's going to be joining me for the show in just a little bit. In about 28 minutes, JR will be joining me for Big News Tuesdays. And Daniel says, ready for Big News Tuesday. Well, it is, actually. Doomslayer Dragon says, have a colonoscopy tomorrow and literally can't eat anything all day, so TDR will have to be my nourishment. I will try to fill you up. Now, JR will be joining us for a top 10 list, so first ever. And because it was the 4th of July, and I have mixed feelings about the 4th of July, we've decided that we're going to do our top 10 holidays. So, where do they rank? Which one makes the list? We'll have that for you in just a little bit. But with that, why don't we launch into the news? And I will start off saying, hey, Brianna, that's cool. I'll start off by saying there's some news that I don't necessarily have much to say about. So the first part would be, you've probably seen going around, Fox News is going to be coming out with a weather channel. And I am sure that it is going to be a hot mess. I am sure that they're going to end up doing a bunch of bullshit that we're going to have to talk about. I mean, like the weather already doesn't acknowledge climate nearly enough. So what are they going to do on Fox News' version? There was a tweet from Emma. She said, the left won't rest until our hurricane names are gender neutral. And yet they're silent on how the overpopulation of non-whites is causing these hot temperatures. And at 11, here's why California deserves their earthquakes. Yeah, I don't know exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be weird. It's going to be pathetic. And I guess we'll see once it finally launches. I don't know why they need a weather channel. What's the right-wing spin on the weather channel? I don't know. Like saying that the hurricanes were going to hit Alabama? Anyway, Wayne says, hi, John, just binged Sweet Tooth. Which subplot do you like the best? So, I have not watched all of Sweet Tooth. I like it. I don't love it. I think that it's perfectly fine, and I will watch it, but there's other stuff that I've been watching Mythic Quest Season 2 recently. There's a lot of stuff I'm into. I caught up on Loki, so I'm all caught up on Loki, and I am liking Loki. The last couple of episodes have been good. I like Sylvie. But anyway, I would say maybe the doctor and his wife. I find that pretty interesting. Okay, Moondragon says Fox weather, sunny, 72. The next weather report will be in 4 days. Ryan says, will GOP civil war continue for some time and will cause lower R turnout in 22-24? How impactful will that be with the SCOTUS voting changes? I mean, I don't know how much I think of there as being a GOP civil war. I mean, they have been infiltrated and taken over by QAnoners and that sort of thing. But that's just so normalized now that, does that even count as a civil war? I don't know. But anyway, okay, so not too worried about that. However, I did want to give you just brief updates because we've been talking a little bit about Gettr, the new social media site, which, by the way, I have to say, initially, I thought it was Trump's team. That's how initially there was breaking news in the middle of a show. We reported it as Trump's team was making it, which is not technically true. It's people from Trump's team, but it's not Trump. And on Friday on the main show, we talked about how he's not even on it. Well, look, I don't even know how long it's going to last now because there's all these different attacks against it. A hacker apparently stole, I think, 90,000 usernames and email addresses. And apparently is true. Like, journalists have tried to use those email addresses to create accounts, and they are apparently all taken. So that's all now been leaked. So their security was just garbage. On top of that, wait, hold on a second. I'm closing. No, don't bookmark all tabs. Hold on one sec. I really prefer having the paper. But anyway, let's see. They've got a bunch of fake accounts that apparently were shockingly easy to set up. So Twitter has been fighting with this, and Gettr apparently isn't set up to. Marjorie Greene was actually involved in that hack, by the way. But anyway, there's this overwhelming amount of pornography that's being shared, which they're very mad about. Now, the thing is, if you say that you are a full free speech, this is no censorship, if that's your whole thing, then how are you not going to have the porn? If people want to share porn, who are you to say that they can't? But of course, they don't actually mean it about the free speech is the most important thing and you can do whatever you want, which, by the way, is totally fine. You get to have standards for what's on your social media platform. But if you're saying that we're going to allow anything to go, and then it's just, oh, but you know, like from a Christian point of view, we don't want that stuff, well, then that's a little bit hypocritical. And the thing that's pointing it out the most is there's a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog related porn, which I didn't realize was a big thing. The pictures I'm seeing are of a Sonic the Hedgehog that apparently has been fed a great amount. But anyway, that is taking over the website. So if you are interested in having your identity stolen, or if you'd like to get more Hedgehog cartoon porn, Gettr is now available. You can sign on to that. Billy Shively says, wait, is the Weather Channel fake news now? It's all fake news. Sonic the Hedge Fund, that's pretty funny. I don't know why there's so much Sonic the Hedgehog porn, but it's actually a big problem. Okay, so I'm going to keep it real with you. The main reason that I wanted to do this pre-show was to talk about a story that was going to be on the rundown. But for some reason, I thought that Francesca would be more into it than JR, which is why I changed it. But anyway, it's here now. And it is, I have one thing that is going to get me through this week. One thing I'm looking forward to. Can you guess what that is? And while you guess, Zombie says, I recommend looking up Dorkly's skit about Luigi's OC Sonic fanfic. Okay, that's pretty funny. Sonic porn is half the internet. It's not Loki, Pugzilla. Can anyone guess it? BC Trumpet has guessed it as well as Jacob. Yes, no, it's not fencing. Oh, that would be fun. Yes, so it's Black Widow. I want to see Black Widow for a few reasons. One, it looks pretty interesting. Two, the cast looks good. I like Rachel Weisz. I like David Harbour. Number three, Florence Pugh is like the best. Number four, though, I haven't seen a Marvel movie in so long. So in the lead up to that week, to see Stephen Dorff attacking the films, but kind of attacking Scarlett Johansson more, is more than I can take right now. So bear in mind, Stephen Dorff, who you might not be familiar with, he still acts, but he was in Blade. He was in that first Blade. He was the villain. And that was an okay movie. I liked Blade. I didn't like most of the stuff about the villain, but he said, let's see, where is the quote? I still hunt out the good shit because I don't want to be in Black Widow. It looks like garbage to me. It looks like a bad video game. I'm embarrassed for those people. Now, I'm going to start there. That's bad enough. It looks like a bad video game. Dude, you got cut in half by a katana, and your body went flying, and then blood, really bad CGI blood, connected it, and then you started sword fighting again. Nope, you don't get to talk about how this looks like a bad video game. You were in those movies. You were. They weren't as good. They weren't as cool. And I'm going to keep it real. I don't know if maybe this is a bit of jealousy. Maybe he wasn't invited back for like a cameo in the reboot of Blade or whatever. But it just the insulting it is one thing. It's when he turns to insulting Scarlett Johansson. He says, "I'm embarrassed for Scarlett. I'm sure she got paid $5-7 million bucks, but I'm embarrassed for her. I don't want to be in those movies. I really don't. I'll find that kid director that's going to be the next Stanley Kubrick, and I'll act for him instead." Well, first of all, you don't have to do just one of those two things. Florence Pugh's in Black Widow. She's also in Little Fucking Women. Like, you get to do all of those sorts of things. David Harbour's in Stranger Things. Rachel Weisz has got fucking Oscar nominations for The Favorite. So why are you pretending that there's some sort of dichotomy where you do one or you do the other? That's absolute bullshit. Now, you're allowed to not like the movies, of course. Of course. However, I'm going to continue one of my crusades, which is to try to get into people's heads that not being able to enjoy something is acceptable, but it's not something from which you should draw a sense of moral superiority. If you can't watch those movies and enjoy them as millions and millions of other people do, that's fine. It's not a good thing, though. You're not better because you don't like this stuff. And if she wants to be in it and finally get her solo movie after a decade of being in these movies, that's not embarrassing for her. I don't think that she's embarrassed, and I don't think she needs your condescension. Now, if you want to be embarrassed for her, there are things to be embarrassed. There's some issues about race, and she said some stuff, I think about trans actors or something like that. Have an issue with that, but the issue isn't that she's in Black Widow. And so I don't know if it's a jealousy thing or if it's like a I'm a true actor thing. You were in fucking Blade. That's what you were in. And Blade was cool. It was good that you were in it. You shouldn't be embarrassed either. But you're not better because you were in a movie like this in the 90s and she's doing it right now. Anyway, I'll have more to say on this later. Probably not, but that is out there. Okay, so really fast. We are rapidly running out of time. I know. I need to move on. No, Umbrella. This is a show where we talk about marvelous garbage and 2IT is the best. See, but you don't have to like it. That's fine. But it doesn't make you better. George R. R. Martin said Stan Lee was a bigger influence on him than Tolkien. That's awesome. I actually really like that. These movie titles are wild. Which movie titles? Okay, anyway. So let's talk about Ghislaine Maxwell. So there are these new books that are... said John is just learning about Sonic fandom. Anyway, there are these new books coming out with all these revelations, little bits and pieces, and we've got one on Rudy Giuliani that's going to be coming up on the full show. But this one about Ghislaine Maxwell is one of the weirdest ones. So in the months when he was about to leave office, and he was pretending like he wasn't going to, but he was acting as if behind the scenes that he totally knew he was, Trump was looking at who to pardon, and he apparently took a sudden interest in Ghislaine Maxwell's case as he was considering who to pardon. Now, very importantly, and let's bear this in mind, he did not pardon her, so that's good. That said, he apparently was interested in the possibility of it. He looked at her case as a potential candidate for a presidential pardon. Why? I don't know. I don't know why this would be the person. He apparently asked about, so he would ask all these people, who do you think should be pardoned? Give me one person. Who's your top pick? Because he fucking doesn't know. He doesn't care. He wants to use the power because he has it, but he doesn't know what's going on. There's no causes that he cares about. He's just looking for ideas. He said, has she said anything about me? Is she going to talk? Will she roll on anybody? It is already one of the weirdest things in the Trump presidency that didn't bother his base that he wished her well. If their whole thing is caring about sex trafficking and pedophiles, and he's like wishing well to a sex trafficker, that's weird enough. But that he wanted to potentially pardon her, this is like literally the state protecting sex traffickers. It's the whole QAnon thing. That's bad. And then on top of that, a third level is because she might talk about me, she might roll on somebody. I don't know how, like, these are not dots that need to be connected for QAnon. The dots are, like, buttoned up against each other. How can you not see that there's something up here? I didn't choose for you for this to be your thing. You chose it, QAnon people. And this is what he was thinking about. He also talked about pardoning himself. Like, but do you get that you'd be admitting that you did things that were wrong? Like, and none of this bothers them. None of this, all the stuff about the pedophiles and the sex trafficking, all that, it doesn't bother them. Pick a new issue, man. It would be like if I worshipped Greta. I think she's cool. If I worshipped her, and she like wished ExxonMobil well, not sarcastically, just totally seriously. She's like, I hope that they do well. No, that's your whole thing, Greta. You can't do that, and that should be the same for Trump. But they're able to see past it. Maybe they can handle a bit of nuance. Or maybe it's that they're just totally blocking out anything that doesn't comport with what they already think. Jesus. Okay, really fast. RJL says, Block Dragon here, starting a new job tomorrow. Congratulations, RJL. Thank you again for everything, Dragon Daddy. Thank you. Okay, everybody, we're rapidly reaching. Billy says the dots are a Venn diagram. Okay, that's better than what I came up with. I like that. Anyway, thank you everybody for being here. We've got a show coming up with Jared Jackson in just 14 minutes. You're not going to want to miss it. I'll see you here or twitch.tv/TYT, but either way, I'll see you soon.